podcast. Oh, it's going.
All right, we are live and welcome everyone to our number 6 live show, Plan Positive.
Tonight we have Gwen on the show, and it's a little funky because I am interviewing Gwen, and right here I've got the YouTube live, and then right next to our computer screen we have our phone. We're also going to do an Instagram live because we're not interviewing anyone on the other end today. We figured we would tune in to Instagram and get all of those viewers too, because not that many people are actually on YouTube. So hopefully we get some questions from the Instagram side, but basically, welcome you guys to Plant Positive Live, and we are going to be talking to Gwen about his 100-miler that he just completed last week. So make sure that whether you're on Instagram or on YouTube, you ask questions for me to ask Gwen.
Yeah, so first I would like to thank you everyone watching now, but also all the support I got during that 100-miler that I did last week. That was incredible. So much support and messages, and like it was incredible. You know, like I'm a huge fan of like Josh Lajoni, and like having Josh Lajoni making stories about me during it was like insane.
Yeah, totally. So pretty crazy. And hey, Dan's already in the Instagram live. We got a few people watching on YouTube. So for everyone that doesn't know, Gwen just ran a 111-mile ultramarathon in France last Friday. It's called the Ultramarin. Okay.
Ultramarin, Red du Golfe. So yeah, it's a race in France, kind of like where I grew up, and I remember growing up, you know, hearing about, you know, I didn't run growing up, and like hearing about people running that distance was just like insane to me, and I was interested already really early on. I wasn't a runner. I was interested just for the challenge, not because I didn't care about running. I was like just thinking like, wow, people can go that far. Like, let's do it. Let's try it. I had like no running experience, and that was like my first ultra that I did with no running experience, and because they have like different distances. So the first one I did was a 56K, and I just went to it again as a challenge. No really running, running a few times, but I didn't know anything. And you know, my first 56K there was as painful as that 100-miler. You know?
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, for my body, definitely, yeah. But for the mental challenge, of course, the 100-miler is another level. But for physical pain, I think my first 56K was just insane.
Yeah, so we got, okay, maybe we can walk people through until people get in, if they ever do, or ask any questions, who knows. But we have been getting some questions, just like private messages and on other social media outlets. So maybe we can try to go about answering some of the most common questions that you got. And also maybe you could just walk everyone through the race and what was going on in your head.
Yeah. So first, I would like to say that this race was my second attempt to finish a 100-miler. I tried last year, and I think last year I had to stop at mile 67, I think. And the reason was, first I had knee pain, but I'm not sure if that was it. I think like it was a combination of things, and the way I approached the race last year was probably not good. I approached it in a way that I wanted to compete. I wanted to do my time. I wanted to. I don't know, like maybe like arrogant in the way that I approached the race, thinking like, you know, this is the time I'm going to be, and not really realizing what a challenge it is. And when I started to suffer, you know, and especially with knee pain, but was it my mind messing up with me? I don't know. And I saw my time goal going away. I think all of that kind of like crushed me, and you know, like I stopped at my 65, 67, and
Okay, so now you're back, and it was like redemption.
Then, like, you know, from the moment I stopped last year, the only thing I wanted is going back and finish that race and finish like 100 miler. So that was in my mind since the day I had to stop last year. And so I approached the race training really well, you know, very consistent. We decided to dedicate, you know, a lot of time to training. So we had been training a lot, a few 100 miles week training, a few races, 50Ks and double, you know, like double long run, back-to-back long run before coming up to the race. So I think like my preparation this year was really good. But then like what really like you know, like changed compared to last year was my mental, you know, like my mindset approaching the race was just like I wanted to finish, and I didn't want to give myself any excuse to stop. So I was like, even if, you know, I have knee pain, I have whatever pain that might be kind of like an injury, what I'm gonna do is slow down and take time to see what it's gonna happen, you know, because last year, knee pain, boom, I stopped. This time I was like, if the knee pain comes, first I'm gonna slow down, then I'm gonna stop at the head station and I'm gonna take an hour break, maybe 2 hours break. And I didn't care about finishing in, you know, the cutoff time is 42 hours. I was ready to do 42 hours. I was like, I wanted to finish no matter what. And the fact that, you know, I didn't have any pressure like on the time, I didn't want to give myself any excuse, you know, because if you accept, I was thinking like, if I accept an excuse to stop, then my mind's gonna start messing with me. My mind's gonna be like, you know, you have a weird pain here. And then like to try to make me stop because your body wants to stop, of course. So I was like, there is no excuse. So I was telling my brain, don't bother finding something that hurts. Everything's gonna hurt and it's gonna be fine. I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna slow down. I'm gonna take a break if I need, but I'm not gonna give up. So I think that was like the biggest difference in the way that I approached the race. So yeah, and then during the taper time, a few weeks before the race, we went to France 2 weeks before the race, and then that's kind of like when I switched shoes also from Hoka, running Hoka here in the mountains, to running in ultras on flat in France. And I think like that switch, I did run with ultra before and I had no problem, but the switch from Hoka to ultra maybe you know, uncovered a small pain in my ankle due to because I have flat feet. So I think having no support in ultras got my arches to like collapse a little and start to create a pain in the ankle. So,
and of course, like, it's not a good idea to switch shoes if you, like, a week and a half before a big race. It's not a good idea to switch anything, but, you know, and we would never tell anyone to do that. We would never recommend that. And then, of course, that's something that we thought was a good idea. I mean, you know,
just because I did run with ultra before and it was fine.
For a long time, yeah.
I thought, like, you know, it's going to be fine. But, okay, so I had this small pain and I decided it was my taper time, so I'm just not gonna run for 5 days because anyway, all my training was done, so the taper is just about resting. So I was like focusing on resting, making sure that inflammation in my ankle would go away, and then to make sure that I don't have any excuse, we went to buy shoes. The Hokas, the same Hokas that I was wearing, and so you know, like there was no excuse for me to say, oh, you know, I switched shoes and now it's hurt. No, you have the same shoes now. It wasn't hurting before. You have the same shoes now. You can go and it's gonna be fine. So we did that. 5 days went by. I started to run again, and yeah, and it was it felt good. So approaching the race, I was like, I'm ready. My body is ready. You know, I don't want to doubt about that. And now it's only going to be about how you handle it mentally, how you find solution when it hurts, when your body wants to stop, how you trick your mind into like, we need to keep going. Just, yeah, finding solutions.
So yeah, you went into it feeling really good and feeling really positive and like you were going to do well. And yeah, then it happened. And you mentioned the ginger and turmeric, right?
Yeah, so
you started
also like, you know, when I had the ankle pain, that's also like when I started to like eat ginger and turmeric again, because we always eat ginger and turmeric, and that really helps for inflammation. But when we were traveling to France, didn't really have an opportunity to use it. So then we really made sure that, you know, I was eating a lot of ginger, turmeric, and honestly, like, that's something that helps a lot. And it needs to be like with a good diet, of course. You cannot eat a crap diet and take ginger and turmeric and hope for like magical effect. But I think like if you have a good diet,
it can be a huge difference.
Yeah,
like,
if you have a diet that basically like doesn't cause inflammation, you can make your own research on what food causes inflammation. But if you have a diet that doesn't cause inflammation and then you add ginger and turmeric, I think it's miraculous. So
yeah, so we recommend that. And okay, so that really like took care of the pain. The pain went away in your ankle. You were feeling great. So now maybe walk us through like how the race went, because you were not expecting to feel as bad as you did as early as you did, right?
Yeah. So going into the race, I was really excited. The start of the race is at 6 p.m. So the first part of the race is during the night, and that's something that I don't really like. I like to run in the morning, and so for me, like having the entire day to just like wait for the race was, you know. It was okay. I was just really, you know, like a lion in a cage. So at the start, I was feeling good. We started. Let's go. It was kind of raining on that evening, and
which is better than it was like scorched. It was like crazy hot.
A week before was really hot. Like we were like into like 95, 100, and then, you know, magically the temperature dropped. Now it was like 70 or something, like perfect.
Yeah.
And a little bit of rain, but not like to get you soaked. So
yeah, you head off at 6 p.m. The race was crazy. Over 1,000 runners, you guys. 1,000 runners doing 110-mile or 11-mile races.
1,027 runners registered to the 100-miler. It was a big event. During that weekend, they have many distances: 100-miler, 50-miler, 50K, 30K, and they even have a walk. Over 6,000 people. So you can imagine, like on that weekend, like 6,000 people coming with their family. There were like people everywhere, which makes it like, you know, it makes like the adrenaline going. I mean, the start was insane. Like music, speaker, everyone like cheering and screaming.
Huge crowd. 6 p.m. like right in the heart of the city.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get going.
So that was like the start already. Like, you know, you get a lot of adrenaline, you know, from that start. I mean, so many people, and I was on the front line. But you know, music and everything. Here we go. We run on the pond. We do a small like out and back to run in front of people. And my sister was there, and yeah, you know, I saw my friend Ben was there also to take a video. And then that was the start. The next aid station was at mile 9. So the aid station during the race are all between 10, you know, or like maybe 8 to 13, or 8 to 15 even, because we had one that was 15 miles between 2 aid stations. So the first aid station was at mile 9, and you know, now like I arrived at the first aid station. I wasn't feeling like something was weird, and I wasn't feeling perfect. I was starting to have like blisters, you know, at mile 9. I run like that. 9 is my like everyday run.
Okay, but there's new shoes and like it was
Kind
weird
of,
though.
yeah.
It was weird. He
But-
was like taping his toes.
Yeah, I was like mile 9, arriving to the head station, and now looking back at the footage because some of the things I kind of like didn't remember, but now I arrived at the head station and I was like very quiet, and that's kind of like my way. That's like my pattern. Like when things don't go good for me,
or when you're stressed.
or when I'm stressed, or like anything in life, it can be in anything. I get very quiet, like what we call like aloof or something. Like I don't say anything, and that's how I was because I knew something was not right,
And you were like, oh my god.
and it's like it's mile 9. I have 102 miles to go, so like I was very quiet because I was like kind of like freaking out, but in the same time just staying calm but just quiet, and I was like scared. So I take my feet at mile 9, get some food. That was like the only head station where I was actually able to eat different food. I ate like apples and some apricot, and like. So I was good to go again. I kept going, and the next head station was I can't remember. About 10 miles later, and already I was starting to feel pain. So when I got to like around mile 20, I was already hurting, and I was like, is like what's going on? Like in the same time, I before the race, I was like looking forward to that point. I wanted to be in the pain. I wanted to spend time in the uncomfortable situation to become more comfortable. So I wanted it, but not that early. Like mile 20, there was like plenty of suffering because it's not gonna get better. Like the pain is not gonna go away. So mile 20 already hurting a lot, and I mean, not a lot, but already hurting, and that was like already, I think, messing with my mind, like maybe increasing the sensation of the pain, because I was like really alert, like, oh, what is that pain? Like it's my 20, like really paying attention. So got some weird pain. I was wondering, like, is that kind of injury? But it went away. It was just regular pain, just like muscle tired. So then I got to mile, I don't know, like 30, 35 head station. That was like the start of the night. And I love the night. So the night part is my favorite part. So I was like, at least, that I like that. And because it's just like, really quiet. You don't see anybody. Even if there are like 1,000 runners on the course, it's not a, like out and back. So it's a loop. So, and I was in front, so I wouldn't see anybody. I would spend like hours without seeing anybody, and you only see like what is in your headlamp, because we are like in the forest and stuff. So mile 35, that's when I saw my sister again, from first time since the start, and I was hurting, and I see her. I kind of start to walk to like chat a minute, and she was like, "What's going on? Like, what are you doing? Why are you walking?" I was like, I'm like hurting, or I'm like hurting pretty bad. And she was like, really? Like, and I could tell that she was like worried, that she wanted to say like, you are hurting already, but you have a long way to go. She kind of didn't say that the first head station that she saw me, but then she said that later. So yeah.
Yeah, hurting earlier than normal.
Hurting, and hurting earlier than the previous year, which also was like scary for me, because my first attempt I dropped, so feeling worse than the first attempt was not something that was giving me a lot of confidence. But I just kept going and slow down, and went through the night, arrive at the boat. So we do the first, because it's a golf. So we start, we do the first half, and then we take a boat to cross like where the ocean enters in the land, and we cross by the boat, and then we do the second half. So the first half, around 55 miles, I got to the boat. It was before 3 a.m. It was like 2:45. So I was 3 ahead of the last year.
3 hours ahead. So that was pretty awesome.
And I was actually starting to feel better. I was not like feeling like better my body, but just accepting the pain, accepting to go slower. So that was like that.
And it was really cold.
Yeah, that was like a big shift, I think, in the race. Like the first half or like the first part was like really crappy, like really hard to handle mentally. And then arriving to the halfway, I was mentally feeling better. I'm not gonna say like physically feeling better because it's not. Like the pain, once it starts, it never stops, and it's not gonna get better. You know, like with the miles, it's not like you're gonna recover while running. It's like you hurt, worse and worse as you go. So it's just mentally there was a shift. Now I was okay with the pain. I was like, thinking like, okay, I hurt a lot, but I'm moving pretty good. I'm 3 hours ahead of last year.
Yeah, you were like compared. So I just need to say this because when you got off the boat, I was really scared that he was gonna be like freezing because that boat ride, like it was freezing. I was freezing supporting him.
And we take a small boat that goes like really fast.
Yeah, so I was expecting him to come off the boat and just be like super cold and like stiff and like in a bad mindset.
It's a small boat that doesn't have a cabin.
Yeah, no, I mean you're out in the wind. And like 55 miles, that's already hard. So when you came off the boat, you were like really positive. And this was like a big shift for me because I hadn't seen you in a long time.
So the boat ride is about 10 to 15 minutes. And of course you get really cold. And you sit for 15 minutes, you have no choice. You cannot stand. It's a pretty small boat. And so sitting plus getting cold, you come out of the boat and like everyone from the first to the last is like walking, like coming in the ramp to go back to the port. You are like a grandpa trying to make like one step. It's like because you are all like rusty, like everything is not moving well.
But okay, so you were like, you were happy, and I was like, how are you doing? And you just were like, I'm good. I'm gonna keep running. You didn't like waste any time, and you were off. You're like, I'll see you at the next aid station.
Yeah, because I was comparing to last year. Like last year, coming out of the boat, I was feeling horrible. This year I was like, I'm like in a lot of pain, but I'm okay. Like I can run, and that's amazing. I can still run and move forward pretty good. I'm good. Like that's all I want. If I can keep going like that, I'm happy. So and I was actually like looking forward to running again because I was cold. And when you are cold, like your articulation and everything don't work really well. I was like, I need to get moving. I need to run. And that's before the boat I started to listen to some podcasts, and I was listening a lot to like David Goggins. If you guys haven't listened to David Goggins podcast, I mean Rich Roll interview David Goggins, and there's also Michael Gervais, Finding Mastery, interview David Goggins.
After this show, we'll post a link to both those podcasts in the description because it's seriously so insane. I listened like 100 times before the race to prepare mentally, and it helped me. And I listened like at least like 12 times during the race. So it really helps. Like get you. It helped me. Mentally, like it definitely helped me. And coming out of the boat, starting to run again, and I was feeling like really bad pain, but mentally feeling like okay. So then kept going, and the day was starting to come at my, I would say maybe. Oh, the daylight. Yeah. It was like 5 a.m. So yeah, it was like my 70 or 75. The light was coming, and the beginning of the day I had a really rough patch because. I decided for that 100-miler that I would not run with a GPS watch. I would in my backpack. I would have on my wrist, I would have just the time of the day.
I didn't want to see my pace. I didn't want to see the distance. I was like, I just need to focus on moving forward. That's all I want. I don't care about how fast I'm moving. I don't care about how far I've been or how far I have to go. It's all about the motion of going forward, walking, shuffling, or,
whatever.
jogging. I take it all. So when I in the start of the day, we had a very long time between aid station, and I didn't know about that.
Yeah, because it was kind of our fault, like screwing up on the map and the logistics. But anyway, he was out there longer than expected. Yeah,
it was like over 15 miles between two aid stations. So I was like out like almost like 3 hours.
Yeah, and
without aid station.
The problem was we thought it was less. We thought it was like 9 miles. So I said, all right, like I will see you, in 9 more miles, and so we kind of like calculated the time, and then you're out there and you're like, where is this aid station? And that's what can get you in a race, is when you're expecting
it wasn't about like I needed to get to the aid station to refill on water, to get food. I was fine on that. We actually had a water point halfway. So I was fine. I wasn't waiting for water or for food. I was waiting to be at the aid station, to see Katie, to see my, to have my support. The aid station is kind of like your safe place. So you jump from safe place to safe place. And in between, it's very hard mentally. So you only think like, I'm on my small island, safe place here, and I'm going to go to the next island.
Yeah, because thinking about running 111 miles is way too much. So what, strategically, you have to break that up.
You break it down. But then like,
so aid station,
that breakdown of aid station to aid station was even like too big to handle. And I didn't know how far I still had to go. And I kept like going like, okay, it's going to be at the next turn. I get to the next turn. No, it's not here. It's going to be at the next turn. I get to the next turn. It's not here. Like that for like over an hour. And that was like mental breaking. And that's also when I decided I needed to change shoes, because my feet were just like getting like destroyed in the Hoka, just like too narrow, like horrible. I had horrible blisters. So I said like, I told Katie like, I need to change shoes now. So I switched to Ultra, the Taurine, and felt like so good. But it's weird, but so the bottom of my feet was like hurting so bad.
Yeah, they get really tender.
So bad. And I was like, I'm looking forward to have the Ultra because it's gonna be like so soft and everything. And it wasn't. It was actually like better. The cushioning was better in the Hoka, just because it's like it's denser. So it actually like
okay, who knows why, but whatever.
Yeah, it actually like I think the Ultras were too soft, and so you would feel more the impact. And that race we have like 20% of road, 80% of trails. In the 80% of trail, you run on the beach, you run on the rocks, and then you run on the road. And my worst part was the road. I was like, I hated the road. It was like hurting so bad. And when I was running on the beach, people would sing like, oh, it's horrible to run like on the beach for 100 miles. But I was so happy. I was like not moving fast, of course, but like feeling like so nice on the feet. And then the road, and you have to run faster, and it hurt so bad. So the beach was actually much better, and my Ultra wasn't the cushioning that I wanted on the road. But it actually felt better for my feet just to have more room. So that was like another rough patch. Then I finally made it to the last.
But at that aid station, that's where like I was reading you like lots of messages from Josh, Lajuni, from friends back home, like Instagram messages. So that helped you a little bit. And thank you guys. Thank you everyone that sent us messages, that replied to stories, to all of that, because it really did help Gwen. And it was just so cool to see everyone coming together. It was like probably the most support we've ever got.
Yeah.
So yeah, that really helped, because that was his lowest point. So we pulled everything out for one of his lowest points, and you just kept moving.
Yeah. I mean, I would say during that race, like the low points were like pretty low, and the high points were not very high. So that's just like how it is. You have like less high, very small high. It's a small bump, or I don't know how. Yeah, and then the lows are like big dive. So that's just how it is. So between like that low that we just talked about, I had like a small like I'm okay moment until I reached another pretty big low just before the last aid station. So that was around mile 90, yeah, 90, 95. The last aid station is at mile 97. So just before that, again, I was like waiting for the aid station. Like, where is it? Like, I cannot run anymore. My feet hurt so bad. So I was like saying like, I'm gonna run until that turn, and the aid station is gonna be here. And then I run to the turn, and it's like, it's not here. Oh crap! I'm just gonna work. I work until I get motivation again. I'm gonna run to that turn because I think it's gonna be here.
Oh, that's such a rough place to be in.
And we were like pretty close. We are getting pretty close from the finish. It's a big finish. So again, you have the music, the speaker, so you hear it.
There was also like some sort of event happening, I think. So you think you hear the finish. It's like really
I think it was
you.
the start of another race.
Yeah, it was.
But whatever, I was hearing, and I was like, that's the finish. I know the area really well. I was like, the finish is right there. I want to run there. I'm done like going around, taking turns in the forest and everything. I was like, I want to go in that direction. And I was like really, also mental breaking to like keep taking turns. And you turn left and you go back a little and that way and that way and that way. And I was like, this is stupid. We are at mile 95. Like, let's go in the direction we need to go. I'm done like turning around. So that was like, very hard, and that's kind of like where I worked the most. But really, I didn't work like that much. I would say like during the entire run, during the entire race, I worked like maybe 2 or 3% of the race. That's it. Like I was like not running fast, but
not really walking,
but like running consistently. And only toward like mile like 90, 95, I was working a little. And then arriving to the last aid station, coming from that moment of like working more, I wasn't doubting that I would finish. I knew I would finish, but I was like, so the last aid station, I have 13 miles to go. If I work, it's gonna take me 4 hours. I knew like that's the pace when you work in that distance. It takes 4 hours, and I was like, I don't want to spend 4 hours here. But at the same time, I was like, I cannot run. I tried before, like I cannot run for more than 200 meters.
Because everything was just painful.
Yeah, because like I think it was like especially my feet.
Yeah.
My muscles were destroyed. Even my abs were hurting. My back was hurting. My arms were hurting. Like everything was hurting. But the bottom of my feet, every impact was so painful that running was at least a little better. Walking was at least a little better. And
okay, so then
last aid station.
Yeah, you're like, I do not want to walk. And
I don't want to walk. Like. But at the same time, I cannot run. I was like, I know I cannot run. I tried before, like it was horrible. I cannot run. And Katie, like I think like something that she told me, like something that really like triggered me in thinking like, like I need to run. She said like, stop being a poopy pants. And that's something like I hear it all the time in the podcast of David Goggins. It's all about like not being a poopy pants, stop complaining about it.
Yeah, he says
just
if
like
you have the poopy pants mentality, is like, life sucks, whatever. And he's like, just get over it. Stop having that. It's about the way you think. So I said that to him. I was like,
and so I was like, then that's when I realized like I'm actually being a poopy pants. I don't want to be a poopy pants. And right now I'm being a poopy pants. I cannot run. My feet hurt. Blah blah. I was like, this is over. I'm running to the finish. It's 13 miles. If I run, it's gonna take me about 2 hours. So let's do it. and we finished that thing. I'm not gonna be a poopy pants. I'm not gonna complain. It hurts, but I'm here for that, and I'm gonna make that happen. So then I left the aid station, and I ran the entire way, the last 13 miles, which was pretty surprising because just before that aid station I was so bad. But yeah, I was able to run, and then I saw Katie at maybe 3 miles from the finish, or 2 miles from the finish, and she was allowed to run the last 2Ks with me, because French, European races, you have no pacer, and you also are not allowed to have support, actual support at more than 3 aid stations. So you can have people coming to see you, but they are not allowed to give you anything, not allowed to help you with anything. So you only have 3 aid stations when they can give you food, give you whatever. The rest of the time they can just see you. And for pacer, no pacer, but they allow the last 2 kilometers someone to run with you. So Katie kind of came a little bit early, further than 2K.
So then we were running together.
Then you were running together, and you were telling me this is amazing, you did it, and I was I didn't do it. It's still a huge fight right now. Every step is a fight. It's not over. Stop telling me that it's amazing. It's not amazing. I still have a long way to go.
I was so proud of him, but
every step hurt. So I'm focusing on every step, not the finish line right now. I will focus on the finish line when I see the finish line. And that was also at the end I was we were taking turns, following the river, and I was we follow the river, and then I see the the river split, and I was oh, that's the pond. And I arrived to the turn. No, that's not the pond. You have to go all that way to the bridge and come back on the other, and then keep going. And that was also really hard, but I was able to run, and then finally we take the turn, and now we see okay, we are seeing now we are not on the trail anymore. We were in the city. In the city. So that's where the finish. I wasn't seeing the finish yet. But I was okay, I know it's now it's 2Ks. I know that's the mark where people can run with you. That's 2Ks, and now I'm gonna start picking up the pace. And now at that moment, I was thinking about Zach Miller or Jim Wamsley. I was Jim Wamsley. I was Zach Miller, whatever. I was going. I don't know if I was moving really fast, but in my mind I was flying. And then
you were moving. I mean, we were moving pretty fast.
Yeah.
And I was oh my god, I mean, I hadn't slept, but I was so surprised that I could barely keep up with you. This was a fast pace, and then we were passing people.
Maybe it was around 7:30 or something.
Yeah, and then we were passing people, and then you guys, if you haven't seen that end video, which you probably have, you'll have to check it out, because he just sprinted into the finish and passed this guy. It was a battle.
So many things were fueling me at that moment. First, thinking the finish is coming, and then also seeing people from my race that were walking, and I was I'm passing them they cannot run anymore. I'm good. I can run fast. So I was passing people. That was fueling me. And then one guy was running in front of me, and he was running slower than me. I was catching up, and I was this guy, I need to pass this guy. And I got to him maybe 200 meters from the finish. And so I was going and start to pass him. And I looked back, and he started to pick up the pace, and now he was following me. He was following me, and I knew he wanted to just keep up with me until the last 50 meters, and then try to pass me just before the end. And I was you can try, but I'm good. I'm gonna sprint all out. And so he was just behind me, and then we got 50 meters from the finish line, and then it was total sprint. I mean, it was my sister couldn't keep up.
It was crazy.
Going really fast.
So you finished in how many hours?
So I finished in 22 hours and 16 minutes.
And 23rd place overall
out of 1,000. So I'm really happy. I mean, I wanted to do under 20 hours, but I'm totally fine. I mean, you know, that's what that would have been like if everything would have been perfect, maybe 20 under 20, but 22 hours, I'm stoked.
Yeah, it was 111 miles, guys. It wasn't a 100-miler. So 22 hours for 111 miles is pretty dang good. Okay, I have to pee really bad, and we have some questions. So how about we ask Gwen a question, and I go pee while this happens. So the first question is going to come from James Russell in the chat room. James is a huge supporter of ours and also was our first live guest on the show here. So from him, he says, after experiencing this race, is there anything that you would change in your future training after experiencing this race? Okay, so you can answer that while I go pee, and I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah, so I would say maybe to do a little more of back-to-back long run, because I think it's very important to train on tired legs. So that's definitely something that I would do maybe more. Because I only did really one back-to-back long run. I did a few like 50K races that would be like a big training run. But it's good to do like a weekend where you do like, and that's what I did once, like a 31 mile. So there was a race, but I took it as a training. And then the next day you go out again for another 20. And I think like that's really important. Like, and also, you know, what I did, like I can handle running like over 100 miles per week. So I think that also helps. And again, like it doesn't work for everyone. Katie tried and she got injured, so like it really depends on everyone. I'm fine with it, so I think it's good for me to do it. So I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna try to include more back-to-back long run, and I'm also gonna try to really keep up with doing a bit more of like tempo run, maybe a longer tempo run. You know, 2 by 3 mile tempo, and I did that, but then like when I got into my 100 miles weeks, I kind of like stopped doing the tempo and like focusing on more just like high mileage. And I think that was good, maybe a good strategy, because 100 miles weeks were new for me, so it might have been like too much stress to do, tempos and a lot of mileage. But now that's definitely something that I'm gonna try to also add, is like keeping a tempo and then higher mileage, peak higher. Like I want to peak. I don't want to be 100 miles every week. I don't know if I can handle that, but build up. And yeah, then doing like some really good weekends of long runs. And I think like even like spending would be nice, like something like spending like 5, 6, 7 hours out, rather, because in the race, if I do a 50K, I spend 4 hours and 15 minutes out, you know. But spending like 6 hours, 7 hours out, I think like
just like standing, like hiking.
I mean, just
running,
like just going, like not going fast, like not like a run where you run like 8:30 or 9 like all the time, but just like very long all the time. You take time to check out. When we run in the mountain, we stop, we enjoy the view.
Yeah,
take some.
That is something that I really want to do before my first 100-miler, which is going to be in September. So that's something that we're going to work on and like try to incorporate.
This summer, I mean, especially in the summer, it's nicer than winter.
Just like
it's hard
all
to
day out.
Stay all day out. But like in the summer, like we're going to try to dedicate the weekend. Okay, we go out for like 7 hours Saturday, 5 hours on Sunday. Doesn't really matter the distance. I mean, of course, we're gonna be able to cover more distance, but that's something that I think is very important to prepare for 100 miles.
Yeah, cool. Okay, so we'll try to answer some of these questions because we do have some good questions. My sister in the chat room says, "How often do you pee, Katie?" That's a good question. I pee a lot, and especially like if you just saw our Instagram stories. We just ate the most amazing watermelon, which, like, of course, makes me
yeah, but it's so important. If you pee like twice a day, something is wrong. You need to pee like
a lot.
If you pee once an hour, it's good.
Okay, I need to drink more.
think it's
out of our trails and tarmac.
That's something that, you know, like if you exercise, like, you need to make sure you are hydrated. Yeah. Because that's part of the recovery. And
okay, wait. Let's get to that question. How long? We have a few good questions, but from Holly Berry in the chat room, how long has it taken for you to fully recover from the race?
That's a really good question, and I'm also really surprised. And like, guys, I'm not lying to you. Like, I was like the first one to be like so surprised. The next day, of course, I was like hurting, like, you know, painful, and like I had like hard time to go down the stairs, especially. And then the day after, so 2 days after the race, I was like honestly like fine. I could have been going on a run, and I was working normally, like not really feeling anything, like kind of like feeling, but like I could squat, I could do anything.
I had to take a nap, and you didn't. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah.
This was like the day after. Like, I don't know. Like, I was so freaking wiped out from crewing him. I had to take a nap, and Gwen was like up. I was like, this is so
And like
bizarre.
I finished the race, like, you know, like, okay, I was sprinting, so maybe I had some reserve that I was able to tap in. But I finished the race. Then I went to the chiropractor. There was a tent with a free chiropractor for the runners, which was amazing. Mm-hmm. He kind of like checked my back. Maybe that helped too. I don't know. But like he said, like, my back is messed up. And I told him, like, yeah, my legs hurt so bad. He looked at my legs, said, no, your legs are fine, but your back is messed up. So he cracked my lower back, my middle back, my neck, everything. He cracked everything, and he said, like, that's gonna help. And then I went to the other tent, medical tent, where they were like treating for blisters. I had huge blisters. They did that, and then I stand up, and I almost like passed out. And so I went back to the medical tent, lay down, you know. So I was like exhausted. Yeah. And I would fall asleep like in like a minute, you know, like. So I was very tired. But then
you did recover so fast.
I was able to recover really fast. And I would say, like, you know, good food, good sleep, and I was, you know, after the race, I was, you know, drinking a lot of smoothie to get nutrients back. And you know, I also, something that could have been like helping a lot is like I stayed hydrated, very well hydrated during the entire race. Maybe like the first like 2-3 hours I didn't pee a lot. Maybe I didn't pee for the first like 2-3 hours, and I would kind of like have to pee, but like not really, you know, nothing would come out. I would do a baby pee, and like and so I was like, I need to drink more, and then I was peeing like at least once an hour. And I think like staying hydrated is like key if you want to be able to recover well, because you know, if you race dehydrated, it's gonna be a lot harder to recover. So that's something like to me is very, very important.
Yeah. Okay, next question. This one is from Mayokek. I'm not too sure how to say it, but she asks, crazy question, but what socks do you guys wear? She tried, you know, Balega, and they were too thick and made her get blisters. This is funny.
Yeah, that's funny because we won a contest with Trail Runner magazine, a photo contest, and I received some like Dry Max socks, and I never buy like nice socks. So that was like the first time I would have like nice socks. That it was after the race, so I didn't race with the Dry Max, but I actually think that it wasn't any better than the one that I really like.
Yeah, so he runs in Carhartt socks.
Yes, it's
like work socks.
Yes, like work
socks. North Idaho work socks. And we've tried we've tried Nike trail running socks. Those are pretty nice.
Yeah, I tried it, but I don't like them as much as
they were really tight. That was the problem. Yeah. And like they got very tight.
I get like sweaty in them.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird. But like the cart socks that are like working socks that you find in like, I don't know, like what store, like
Yeah.
is my favorite one. And,
we're gonna go on a hunt to try to find more because you wanted to try to find more. So maybe if we can find them
but
online,
to me, like,
it's weird.
You know, like they cost less. You know, they are not running, so they are not running socks, so they don't, you know, price them like so high. But to me, like, they work like as good. I just tried like Dry Max and I wasn't impressed. And when I was going to try them, I was like, wow, like the Dry Max, that's amazing. That's actually like running socks. And I tried them and I was like, yeah, it's good, but regular socks work like as well for me.
Yeah, I think the socks are really important, and you need. I don't know, like I found that I have tried different types, nothing in particular, but like I noticed that there is a difference. I haven't found one that I'm absolutely in love with yet because we haven't bought fancy socks. We're waiting for a sock sponsor, I think. But it does make a difference, that's for sure. Okay, we have some more questions, and then I really want to go over nutrition for the race because we didn't really talk about it. Okay, so let's see. That's a few of the questions from there. There's a few more, but I'm gonna ask them later. Okay, so Kelly asked a few questions about training with elevation. And did you talk about that at all? Like how you went in, like because we live in a very mountainous area.
You know, I mean, we cannot say like I train like high altitude. Like high altitude training starts at like 9,000 feet. Like we are nowhere from that. Like if I run to the top of the highest mountain around, I'm like 6,000, 7,000 feet. So I don't get any benefit from really like altitude training. But we get a lot of hills, and during the winter we run in the snow, which means in the winter running like a 14 minutes per mile pace is challenging, you know, because you have so much snow. Nowhere, like you can't find like a nice track, a nice road. Like everything is icy, everything is so much snow, and I still want to run on trail. So we run sometime in snowshoes. If we just got some. We have our home trail. If we just got some snow, we go with snowshoes for 2 days to pack it, and then finally we can go with spikes. But that's how I train the entire winter for, you know, like 5 months or something like.
Yeah, and then when the snow melted, you focused on like trying to get longer runs in flat, but you know,
even flat here, like on my run, I would at least always get 1,500 feet of gain.
Yeah,
that was like the lowest I could get. So I think, you know, like to me, like I wasn't like like to me it didn't matter. Training, you know, like of course it's not like ideal, but it was fine. Like my body would be ready, you know, like if I was doing hills or flat, I would be ready.
Yeah, and so in case you guys don't know, the 111 miler was flat.
Yeah.
Along the ocean, it was flat. So that's why we were trying to get some more.
It was flat, but at the end, it was still like it's nothing but like still like 6,000 feet of gain, because you know we would go upstairs, you know, up the beach and then down and in the village and stuff.
Yeah.
So it would add up, but like 6,000 over 110 and 11 miles is pretty flat. But I don't think like you know, it's not an excuse to say I live in the mountains, so I cannot run 100 miles on flat, or I live on flat, so I cannot run in the mountain. It's the same. If you're in shape, you're in shape, and we see it with like professional runners. Casey, she lives like what's her last name? How do you say?
Yeah, like she lives in like Oklahoma.
Yeah, she lives on flat. She's one of the best Nike trail runner, female, and she wins like mountain races. She lives on flat. It's not an excuse. We cannot say like, oh, I cannot train on that, so I will not be good. No, if you train if you train good, if you have, of course, you know, if you want to be a pro, you have to have talent and everything, but there is no excuse to say I don't live in the right place to run this kind of race. If you train hard and if you train consistently and smart, you can do anything.
Okay. That kind of leads into the next question from Mitchell McLaughlin. What are your future plans? What are your future race plans? Are you entering any big ticket lotteries like Hard Rock or Western States? Any desire to take on one of the Chamonix races, CCC, TDS, or UTMB? Yeah, that was actually why we were running this and our next 100 miler.
Yeah, so this 100 miler was so gave me points. So if you that UTMB is definitely a race that I would like to do.
Me too.
And but if you want to do UTMB, you need to get points. So I got points from that race, from the 100 miler. We have a few races coming in the summer that also will give us points. So at the end of the summer, if I finish every races, I should have the points to apply for UTMB or CCC. I also entered, the last 2 years, I entered in the lottery for Leadville. Didn't get in. But you know, Leadville is a race I want to do. Hard Rock is a race I want to do so bad. I want to do the Heart 100 in Hawaii. I want to do UTMB.
But okay, so you are going to, hopefully he's going to qualify for UTMB, but I will not because I missed that race. So that looks like what's going to happen is we might not register, even if Gwen qualifies, we might not register for UTMB this next year or enter the lottery. But Gwen probably will enter the lottery for the Heart 100 in Hawaii. And then we'll probably enter something in Chamonix for next spring somewhere. Yeah. Or maybe in Annecy, the maxi race.
We could have the points for CCC, I think. So yeah. we could try CCC. It's just Chamonix is amazing. I want to go there. Yeah. I want to race whatever. If it's like, I don't think we will be there for like the 80K or like the Mont Blanc Marathon. Another race that I also want to do is the maxi race. It's in Annecy in the Alps in France. It's around that lake. It's amazing. 110K race with like 27 or 26,000 feet of gain. It's just so beautiful. We have a friend living in Annecy. Davey, if you ever watch that video, we're gonna
come stay with you.
We didn't tell you yet, but we are coming, and yeah, so that's also, you know, right. But yeah, we have like so many races that we want to do. We have another 100-mile race coming in September. It's in Oregon. It's called Mountain Lakes 100.
So that will be my first 100.
And so I'm gonna run with Katie because we were planning on like running our own race, but now like coming from like that experience, I'm like, you know, you need support for your at least for your first 100-miler. It's very important. So I'm gonna run with Katie the entire way. It's nice to have a pacer for the entire way. That doesn't mean it's gonna be easy for me. We both gonna be suffering, and we can support each other, and yeah, we can tell each other like stop being a poopy pants, and that's gonna be really, really amazing.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to having Gwen run with me, opposed to running like way ahead of me. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about race nutrition, and Kelly asks a good question in Instagram Live right now. She said like, how far? Well, she had a question about recovery and the plant-based diet, and that definitely helps. Like we believe in that fully to recovery, and so many other plant-based athletes agree. But she wants to know like how many days in advance do you plan your meal prep? Like, do you worry about getting like protein or carbs? Like, do you carb load before? Like, is every day a carb load? Like, what about protein? Like, what does the few days before the race look like? And then maybe we could talk about race nutrition, your plan, what actually happened, what you could eat, what you couldn't eat, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not the type of person that worries about everything and that everything needs to be prepared and perfect. So I'm like worry-free. You
don't think about your meals. You don't think about what you're having for dinner.
Yeah, I would be fine. To me, like, I would be fine. Like, whatever I check. But I still I follow the same principle, which is like, you know, plant-based, high carb. Not especially like, I wouldn't say like especially high carb or like low fat. I would say like just like whole food. That's the only thing. I eat like a lot of nuts when I want. I don't really like try to follow like that many like percentage of like macronutrients. But whole food, definitely whole food. And I'm not saying I eat everything whole food. I sometimes eat like processed food. But that's the focus, and it doesn't change from like 6 months before the race, 1 month before the race. You want to start again?
Yeah, we just ended our Instagram live. But okay.
So it doesn't change. I just keep eating like on the same principle. Before the race, during the race, and after the race. So during the race, like before the race, I told you like plant-based, whole food. So like smoothie in the morning. A lot of potatoes and salads and rice, beans. I make burritos a lot. I mean every day basically.
Okay, so
that's the
what
food.
did you plan? What did you want to eat for the race? Like,
Yeah,
what was your
for the race,
nutrition plan?
Like honestly, like I didn't even like worry about it. Like Katie was like in a freak mode, like preparing like so many options, like making stuff and peanut butter jelly and like energy balls and soup and burritos and everything.
You never
and
know.
I was like,
you never know.
yeah, like give me like I'm gonna go with a bag of dates and I'm gonna be fine. Actually, I wasn't able to eat dates, which I was thinking like I would just eat.
He
dates.
always eats dates on every run, every training run.
It's funny. Like during that race, like very like I told you, like the only time I could eat different food was the first aid station, apple, apricot, and then I didn't feel like I wanted anything except for oranges. I ate oranges the entire way, and the energy like balls that Katie made that were made of
that you were making fun of me with. Basically, we posted the recipe on our blog. Lots of people have requested this recipe. It was amazing. Basically, it was just, I was thinking like, how can I make a Whole Foods like energy bar that has lots of real food? So instead of, I know that when you're running 100 milers or any time, even at 50Ks, you get really sick of gels. So how can you get healthy carbohydrates and a little bit of other food, like fat and protein into that are from Whole Foods, like dates, walnuts, figs, cherries, nuts, nut butter. So basically, I just blended all of those up and made an energy ball with some nuts. So like amazing, amazing recipe. They were really tasty. And I put ginger and turmeric and salt in there too. Because like we said earlier, we swear by ginger and turmeric. And then when you're on really long, when you're doing long exercise, you need salt. So anyway, all of that combined into this little energy ball that I made. Recipe is on our website, so you could check that out. But that kind of saved you. Like that's basically all you wanted. And I was really surprised.
I had some potatoes around my like 40 or something. But then I was running on oranges and this energy balls, and also I had liquid calories. So we had like a mix of like banana and dates. That's like to me is like the best thing. But the only problem with that is because I wasn't supposed to have support at more than 3 aid stations. I couldn't carry enough. I could carry the balls, but the water, like you just like you go through it like so quickly and it's heavy. You cannot carry it all. So if I could, that I would run on banana dates, maybe eating a few things like potatoes and try to get like different nutrients. But like that was like my my all-time favorite is that drink. Then we have a trick where if you are by yourself, what you can do, but to me it doesn't really taste as good, is squeeze a gel in the water, because I couldn't eat any gel. I didn't want any gel. But what I could do is squeeze a gel in my water bottle, put some water, mix it, and then I drink it, and I still get calories.
But you really didn't want that either.
But I didn't like that. It needed to be like very diluted. So it was like 1 gel in my water bottle, which is not that much. So yeah, oranges and this energy ball. That's all I ate during the 22 hours.
So knowing that, what would you want to do different for like Mountain Lakes 100? What do you think we should do? Like.
Again, I'm not worried. I mean, I will see. Like, I'm not gonna. I don't. Like, I'm sure there will be something I'm gonna improvise. I don't know. I like to improvise when I don't like to be everything prepared first because it's annoying to prepare, and then because the plan like on 100 miler like it never really goes like the plan. So you know, we can prepare a few things to have like, but we will see at the aid stations. They will have like pieces of fruits and like, and if really like I didn't have like, I would have been eating something. You know, like I wasn't going to be like a princess or poopy pants saying like I want that burrito with like that much in it. No, like you have like that aid station. You have like apples, and you don't like apples, and there is only apples. You're gonna eat apples, or you know.
Yeah.
Finish.
So that's definitely something that like we're gonna look like I'm gonna do at our 100 miler that we have in September. So I just realized that we also didn't answer really the question before about like what are our future race plans. Quickly, I'm gonna tell you guys what we do have planned for the summer, but then I'm gonna answer a question from Dan in Instagram Live, who's asked me after watching Gwen and crewing him, like what am I gonna do and change, and how am I gonna use what I've learned, and like what have I learned, and what will I do like to incorporate that into helping me succeed in my running. Okay, so first, our race schedule. In like 2 weeks, we have the Fernie 50K up in Fernie, BC. It's about 9,000 feet of elevation over 31 miles. It's going to be really hard. It's the first time they've ever done this race. Then 2 weeks later, right?
Yeah.
Right, Gwen's leaving. 3 weeks later or something, we have Elkhorn 50 miler in Oregon, which I'm definitely nervous for because of the short turnaround time. But then what's even crazier is that just 2 weeks after that, we have the Rut 50K, which is insane. That's going to be such a cool event. It's a Solomon event, and we're very excited to hopefully meet some amazing trail runners there and have some good competition. That one is the 50K and has like 10,000 feet of gain, so that's going to be really hard. And then the next race after that will be our 100 miler in September 23rd. So there again, like just 20 days, but that might be perfect time, like to have a 50K and then a taper for the 100 miler. So that's it. That's what we've got on the schedule. After that, we don't really have anything. Okay, so yeah, to answer your question about what I learned, like I learned so much. After crewing Gwen, I was definitely scared shitless, like of everything. Just like, oh my God, this is so painful. This looks so scary. Like just watching him do it, it gave me a lot of courage, but it also scared me a lot. I think what I learned, like one of the coolest things that I learned from Gwen was just to stay in it and stay focused. He's really good at staying focused and not letting the lows like get too low. You did get low, but like you just kept walking and just knowing that I want to use that mentality, and it's about finishing my first 100 miler. It's not about winning. It's about I'm not competing with others. I'm going to be competing with myself. So using that idea that Gwen took and just like using that to my advantage. And I'm just going to run my race and walk my race if I need to.
That's something that is really interesting because, you know, during the race, Katie, like, especially at the beginning, kept like telling me like, oh, you are doing really good. You know, you are like 25th, or, you know, you are like, she was telling me my ranking, and I was like, oh, on the next section, she would be like, oh, you did so well, you passed people, now you are like, that ranking. And I was like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, I'm like, it's hard for me. I'm like fighting, like, it's like, I'm not competing with anybody. Like, if someone is going faster than me and passing me, whatever, I'm doing like what I can, you know, like I'm trying to find ways to keep moving forward. No matter how fast people pass me or how slow they are, you know, like at the finish, of course, you know, like 2Ks from the finish, yes, I was happy to pass goal and it was fueling me. But when you have like 10 hours of race left, it's like, you know, like you want to pass me, you know, like maybe I will pass you later, you know, like who knows in 5 hours how you're gonna feel. So
just being in your own race, right?
It's not about like, you know, like how fast people go. Maybe when you are like elite and you know you have some room to go faster or something, but like at some point it's your, especially 100 miler, it's not about what others are doing. It's about finding ways to keep going. Like it's already a fight.
Well, this is a good tie-in to like maybe our last question because we need to wrap this up. But it's from Kelly at Bunkhouse Coffee Bar. She asks, how do you turn that pain and fear into motivation to say, yes, I want to run until I cry? Is it all just a personal satisfaction? Like,
yeah.
How do you turn that around?
I mean, you know, to me, it's like, you know, I want to challenge myself. I want to do things that, you know, like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. And I want to be in like, I want to be like in like situation where like I cannot go, but I need to go and I need to find ways. So like that's to me, like that's really interesting. It's like being in like such a pain that's why like, that's what I love. Like I'm not like racing. Like if I love like running for like running, and I would be racing like 10Ks and half marathon, and like I don't care about like how fast I can go on a 10K. I want to go like as far as I want, and like as far as I can, like, or as far as like how can my mind, you know, like how can I? It's like when you work out and you want big muscles. I want to do that with my mind. I want to be like, put myself in like horrible situation. 100 miles is a perfect opportunity. Where like your body hurts so bad, no matter how prepared you are. So you don't have to worry about it. You're gonna get that moment. And now where everything is out of the window, like how you trained is out of the window. How much talent you have is out of the window. How you know, like your genes, like your genetic to be a runner, this is out of the window. Your body is done. Like none of that matters. So now it's only your mind. It's up to your mind how you're gonna keep going. And I think like that's what is interesting to me, because growing up, you know, I heard like a lot, like, you know, you have a really good potential. And I think like I never really exploited that potential.
Explored.
Yeah, explored that potential, because maybe, you know, I was, you know, I'm kind of like kind of like lazy. I do things.
Well, everyone does. It's human nature.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like it's easy for me to run 10 miles. So, you know, like it's not, you know, what is my, like, how did I do that? Like you know, it's easy for me. But now 100, I want to put myself in a situation where like, now let's test really your mind. Nothing like, you know, like, because before I could say, oh, I won that race, but it was easy, you know, it wasn't, I didn't challenge myself. I want to put myself in a situation where like, it's only my mind. Now, you know, I isolate what I want to work on. It's kind of like you go to a gym, you want to have like big biceps, you do like curls, and that isolate that muscle. So I want to isolate my mind. I don't want my talent, or I want my, you know, like my potential to get in the way. This is gone. So in a 100-mile race, that's what happens. Like everything is out. The only thing left is your mind, and now how you can keep going. And so, you know, to me, like doing 100-mile race, I finish and I'm like, I want to do a 200-mile race, because I want to see like how far my mind can go.
And what like our bodies are physically capable of, and how the mind is interfering with that, and also could be a tool to allow us to reach new things. And I guess in closing, like this is something that Gwen and I have been on this like path to discovery since we met. You know, like we both kind of like veered off the normal path of this is what you do. You go to college, you get your degree, you go and work in a job for the rest of your life to make money, to pay rent, to buy a house, to buy a car. Like we left that voluntarily to see if there was something else. And we found Sea Shepherd. And we realized very quickly that there's another life out there, and it does not involve working to pay rent, to do all that. It doesn't involve this standard path. It involves doing something a little different. and it's scary, and you don't know what it is, and you don't know what the future is going to be, but you're going for it because it's fun, it's adventurous, you get to challenge your mind, you get to challenge status quo, and you get to live a life of meaning. So I think like pulling all of that together has been really addicting for us, because once we started doing that, it's just been like nonstop. It's been this evolution of like, what's next, what's next, what's next.
I mean,
and now we're doing races, but who knows what we're going to be doing. And every day, Dan asked earlier, like, how are we going to bring what we learned during the race into our everyday life? And I think that's one of the things that we're going to do, and we already have done. I said it in our Instagram post maybe today or yesterday that every day, like, it's easy to wake up for us and go out our front door and be in like paradise. Like, we have amazing trails, our dogs can go right from home, but we're not really tapping into the full potential of what Sandpoint has to offer. There are so many crazy, beautiful places, even just 10-minute drive. And it's easy for us to just go out and call that run right out our door good. And we've been doing that for a really long time. But after this race, like, we are just, it's just like, we're just thinking differently all the time. And so now what we decided today was, all right, no, we're not going to just do what's easy for us. We want more. We want more out of our running. We want more out of whatever it is. And we want more out of our life in every aspect that we can. And so now we've committed to like even just driving 5 minutes to a different trailhead. We just want to explore more places and not just do the same thing. We don't want to think the same every day. We don't want to eat the same every day. We don't want to do the same things. We want to do different things. Like, so, I don't know, right?
Yeah, I think like, you know, like a big thing for us is that we want to find ourselves, you know, and like, if I wasn't in search for being myself, I could be, you know, I study marine engineering. I could be working as a marine engineer, making a lot of money, you know, like, and instead I choose to work for nothing and I make no money.
digging trenches.
But I'm finding myself, and like that's what also is about like racing such distances. Is like when you have nothing left in your capacity of your body, but you only have your mind, then it's yourself, and nothing else matters. Like you cannot say like, I want to be like that. I want to. It's like it's you. Like, it's not about like this guy that did that, or of course you can get inspiration, but that's not gonna, you know, really get you anywhere. It's like in that moment it's you, and it's inspiration is not gonna help that much. And I think like that, this, like, we are in a search for like being ourselves. And that's hard, you know, like that means that you cannot follow anyone, because if you follow someone else's path, then it's not your path. So, you know, like that's why like sometimes maybe like we make decisions that most people would not do. Like, why did you quit that job? Because you were making good money, you had good life, but you know, I'm in search for being myself. And that wasn't myself. I know it wasn't myself. So I'm moving on, and I'm going into something scary maybe, but I think that's where I'm going to find myself. So I think that's like the biggest thing that like drives, you know, our life, is just like
following our own path.
Yeah.
And we're really lucky to have each other and to have all of you guys, have everyone watching, and family support, and people just tuning in everywhere. So we're just so lucky, and we are getting text messages on our computer. I'm sorry. Okay, but we do need to wrap it up. Kelly, we're gonna see you soon. Our update on the B&B. My sisters are coming to visit, and Lil Beans, which is her dog. We're really excited about that. Our B&B is like being pushed back and back and back because of the construction just taking longer. Putting in a sprinkler system in our yard to make it all pretty and enjoyable. So we're working really hard all the time, like every day, to get that ready. But it looks like our B&B is going to be open in the spring next year. We're working to open our nonprofit. That's super exciting. We keep talking about that all the time. Plant Positive. It's going to be epic, you guys. We're looking like there's going to be so many ways that you guys can get involved in spreading this lifestyle, this mission, and just get involved in having fun. So we're very excited about that. We can't really talk too much more about it because it's all in the works, but we're super stoked. We're going to keep you guys in the loop. Thank you to all of our Patreon supporters for making this happen and, like, you know, funding a little portion of what we love to do. Quitting our jobs was definitely scary, and it was not the easy thing. The easy thing was just to stay in it and keep working like normal. But with your guys' help, you know, it's helping us, you know, buy food, take time to do this, tell my dad that we need to take an hour to, you know, give back to our Patreon supporters and keep, you know, put the inspiration out there. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
If you guys do want to support what we do for as little as $1 a month, you guys can subscribe to our Patreon and become a supporter, and it really means a lot. It helps us, like, gauge how much, you know, income we're going to have and how much money we're going to have to buy bananas next month.
Yeah, and thanks to our friend Scott. You know, we don't have internet at home, so we have a friend that has an office, and he let us borrow his office. So that's like also a huge help because we don't have internet at home. We couldn't be doing that if he wasn't letting us borrow his office. So thanks so much, Scott.
All right, guys, I guess that's it for the Instagram Live, YouTube Live. Hey, Aaliyah in the chat room. Love you. Love you guys. We will probably have someone epic on next week. We don't know who, but we are figuring that out right now. So stay tuned for next week's live show. I think that's it. We love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. And
we'll see you next time.
Yeah, see you later.
Eat more plants.
Go eat some plants.
Lots of plants for the planet.